One thing you'll always get here is honesty and authenticity. You won't find that in all reaction channels, unfortunately, but you will find it on mine. Welcome back, and thank you for joining me for another reaction video. If you're new here, subscribe, turn on those notifications, and you're good to go. We are back with more Vola, and this is an interesting one because I've quickly fallen in love with this group, even though I've heard only a few songs. I've done one reaction to them, but that reaction wasn't my first listen to the group. I heard a song before that. It's the one we're looking at today called Head Mounted Sideways. I want to shout out my Discord crew, Hoopfie, Christian, and Peachy, for putting me onto these guys. But I did kind of mention in that first reaction I did that I had heard this song. I don't remember a whole lot about it. It was played on one of our music evenings, in and amongst a lot of other songs, a lot of chatting, and don't remember too much about it, but I do remember loving their sound, which is why I did that first reaction. I know I asked you guys and you said you'd be keen for me to take a look at it anyway, and that's what we're doing today. Can't ignore a good thing, so without further ado, let's take a look at Vola, Head Mounted Sideways. Let's see what you got. Gonna stop there because it rounds up the bar. I'll go back a bit to lead in, but wow. Okay, I do remember that riff. It's ringing a bell. Not the specifics of it, but what a groove. They just seem to be these masters of heavy grooves, and it's such a different way of writing songs to what I'm used to. It intrigues me. It sounds awesome, and that's a great combination. I love how this started. In fact, you know what? Let's go right back to the beginning because I want to hear that again. It's just too good. I love how that starts. You heard that nice, what sounded like either a nice hi-hat accent, but very closed and tight. It was creating the expectation of the urgency and the tempo. And you could hear the cyclic kind of sound of that program synth piece, and that matched up with that really nicely. It's more rounded and wavy, but you could hear the definite assistance, if you will. And then when that comes in, I mean, when you have a great rhythm that has an awesome chug to it, and you've got a great drummer, well, that chug and the kick drum are best friends. And they are working really, really well together, because when you have it accent not only just the hit, but also the tone of it. And I know a kick drum only has that one tonal sound. You can get technical and talk about hitting it harder and softer to get a click, but it only has that one tonal value. But it does sound like, for some reason, when that guitar drips down with the palm muting, shout out palm mute gang, it does sound like it's helping. And I could hear the cymbals open up a bit in the second phrasing. I remember a bit of this, and it is fire. Got like a bit of a Mortal Kombat vibe with that techno element. Oh, hang on. One more thing I just want to mention there. That synth work, you cannot underestimate the value of it to give a song height. We talk about depth and space and size, but height is part of that. And when everything's really low and chuggy, even though there is obviously a much wider bandwidth to that, but the predominant primary sound is that heavy chug, and then you've got the synth floating on top, and it feels like it's climbing forever, and it's never going to come down again, and all of a sudden it rounds that peak and comes down. Also, accenting the snare on the 3 and the 7. I feel like that's going to be a consistent theme throughout the song. I'm not mad. That's cool. When you go from something heavy, you want to go into something that is a verse piece, which you need to actually bring down the energy a bit. Not always, but traditionally that's what you would do. They're doing that here. So they're starting out with the beginning of that riff, and they're leaving a gap open for that drums and the kind of vocoder robotic sound to the vocals, which is actually really cool. It's super digital and spacey, as is the synth, as was that little techno piece in the beginning, which sounded like a twist on some guitar playing. But you can hear that shot that's being brought in, like with a quick exponential fade and then cut off really sharp, and it sounds like it could be, I don't want to say reverse necessarily, but it has that back masking effect on it, which is cool. Hang on, man. Love that. The way the kick drum opened up a little bit with those gallops. It's that 1 and 2, 3 and 4. It's accenting on it's a syncopated hit, so it's accenting on an off count. And I like, I said masters of that groove, but also masters of melody. And there's nothing tastier than a great chorus that's written to suit the style of a band. And I say that because sometimes bands just look for hooks, and sometimes they find them. And sometimes they look for hooks that suits the style of music that they're playing, and that just makes sense. Everything connects, and I am happy as can be. Great vocal there, which was clean and unaffected. Unaffected is, I'm using that very loosely. I'm saying in comparison to the overly affected verse vocal. And that little step in the lead work that almost sounds a little bit like kind of sharp and controlled and cut off. It's that 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. So it's counting on every single beat, and it goes up and down. It's like a ladder climb, and it's very cool. I need more. Bass is doing work. Hang on there. I just got to say this. I just looked at the time, 5:41. Longest song, but they're one of the few bands that when I see a longer song, I'm not mad. I'm not mad at all because fantastic. I listen out for this. There is this layering with the vocal, much higher vocal layering on top, which is supposed to not be the primary sound, and you're supposed to have to listen for it, but it adds a lot of value and beefs up the chorus piece because it is a more gentle vocal, somehow still filled with power. I really like that. And I was right about the 3 and 7 accent with the snare. It is continuing, and I am super happy. I also liked how the verse was slightly different and more dreamy and more floaty. Almost a separate interlude, if you will. It's very good. Okay, I was hoping there was going to be some vocals added to that because what's really nice about this is it's slowed down, it's dramatically opened up, it's made it more textured. And what I like about music is traditional mainstream music says you have certain bars and phrasing, right? And they don't like to mess around with time signatures too much. And even within certain standard time signatures, they don't like to mess around with syncopation or placements. And that's because it's harder for people to listen to, and it throws you off a bit, and it's not mainstream, and it's not what you would call as easy listening. And that's awesome. It's awesome for that. There's a difference. I still consider this to be easy listening, but it has a layer of depth and intelligence that just blows my mind. I like when music takes those bars and placements and rules and they bend them. It's not breaking them entirely because it still does catch up. But let me give you an example. In this piece that you're going to hear now, you'll probably still hear it with the vocal on top. I'm sure they'll continue it. You'll hear a piece sound like it jolts you, right? And that's because one part of a bar, but either the previous or the start of the next one, is borrowing time from the previous bar, the bar to come. And what it has to do is make up. So it has that quick hit to borrow that time, and then it has a particular phrasing to make it up, to make it fit back in that cycle. And then it bends and breaks that rule slowly again. And it's awesome. Get in. Hang on a second. There's something else happening there in the background. Give me a second. Yeah, First of all, I love how this is just, the song is just tearing itself apart, and it's heavy, it's brutal, it's got little technicalities, it's just raw and power, and it strips out a lot of that digital element. But there's something, I can't quite place it, but I can hear something. There's a layering happening just after some of those higher bends that you hear. It almost sounds again like that shot that's been brought in exponentially, and I'm not sure if it's that or if it's something else, but it's far back in the music. It's really far back. There's definitely some layer there. It could just be synth, it could be that, it could be something else, it could just be a mix of the sound creating that effect, but it sounds too placed. Have a listen out for that as deeply as you can. I would love to see the raw tracks on this.
Blood has been spilled. I'm saying goodbye for now.
Beautiful end. Absolutely beautiful end. Love this band. Love this group. I always let the credits roll as much as possible because they deserve all of the credits. Everyone is involved in this. Phenomenal band, phenomenal song. Loved it once again. Just absolute massive fan of that. Can't wait for more, really. And it, again, you know, a lot of people say to me, how is it possible that and there's the other song I did, by the way, Straight Lines. I'll put a link to that reaction in this video description if you haven't seen it. I mean, I love that song. It's like one of my favorite songs that I've done on the channel. This song is more just, it's just a bit of a masterclass of tearing itself apart towards the end there, and I love it. A lot of people say, how can it be that someone who listens so intently to music, or intensely to music, can hear a song like the one I just heard now and not remember large parts of it? Pretty easy. So much music we're listening to, so many requests are coming in, so much so that in off periods where I used to listen to lots of music running, cooking, doing stuff like that, I'm listening to podcasts now, or I'm not listening to anything at all because it's too much. It's overwhelming. So the one part is it's a lot of music, so much. I know that it doesn't seem like a lot when you think about how many songs you listen to just in your average day. But if you think about the process of listening to them this way, as deeply as you can, to try and provide value, education, and then to edit that song, to upload it, to be there for the premiere, and doing that 3 or 4 times. I used to do it 7 times a week. It's just a lot, and your brain just has to replace certain information. So it's very possible, and it's very possible in the future that I do a reaction to a song that I've heard without even remembering I've heard it, because that's just how it works. One thing you'll always get here is honesty and authenticity. You won't find that in all reaction channels, unfortunately, but you will find it on mine. And I love that song, man. They're just masters of songwriting, and songwriting in a different way, and I just think it's brilliant. Can't wait for the next one. So please let me know where to go next. I'm sure there's loads of Vola to come on this channel, and I have no doubt they will have their own playlist very, very shortly. Until the next one, please be safe, be nice to each other, and have a damn good day.